Salam alaikum, you're watching the biggest story tonight with me, Shavan Sen. Our total focus right now is on what's really happening in Pakistan. Yet another instance of minorities being attacked. But the West and a few in the West essentially lecturing India as far as India's role of protecting minorities are concerned. Why shouldn't questions be asked of Pakistan given the fact that there has been a track record of minorities being attacked repeatedly? Multiple evidences have also been provided, but despite the evidence, Pakistan has not acted upon it. Tonight, we'll get you all the latest details of series of attacks that have taken place on minorities in Pakistan, and zilch has been done in the name of action. But up first, these are the headlines we are tracking for you at this hour. Prime Minister concludes his action-packed foreign visit with a visit to pyramids of Gaza, set to return post-midnight. Highest state honor Order of Nile conferred on Prime Minister by Egypt. Several MOUs signed between India and Egypt. Prime Minister Modi visits 11th century historic mosque in Cairo, meets Dawoodi Bohra community. Major controversy over alleged pro-Aurangzeb sloganeering in OAC rally. BJP submits complaint. Deputy Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis hits back. Rains wreak havoc in several states. Assam worst affected. Meanwhile, Delhi and Mumbai face waterlogging woes. Belarus brokers peace between Russia and rebel Wagner Group. Troops retreat. Kremlin says won't prosecute Wagner Group. Well, in fact, starting with the biggest story tonight, in Pakistan, ladies and gentlemen, minorities are being targeted, not once, but multiple times. There has been a second such attack in the last 2 days. A Sikh shopkeeper was shot dead in Peshawar in Pakistan on Saturday. The man, identified as 32-year-old Manjinder Singh, was gunned down in Rashigiri Bazaar of Peshawar in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, raising questions about the safety of members of the minority community in the neighboring country. Earlier on Friday, a Sikh shopkeeper identified as Tarlok Singh was shot at by unidentified men in Peshawar but had managed to survive. United Sikhs said that they will be meeting Pakistan consulate members with other groups to seek the State Department's intervention to protect the rights of minorities in Pakistan. If you take a look at the number of minorities who have been attacked in Pakistan, it has only been growing with every passing day. But in terms of action that has been taken so far, remember, no assurances have been given to the minorities. In fact, several of the minorities are essentially now demanding that they should return to India because that's where they find a safer place. We'll try and go across to our reporter in Pakistan, getting you the latest updates in terms of the action that has been taken so far and the number of attacks that have taken place. Kaswar, if you take a look at the number of attacks that have taken place, it has only been growing. First, let's begin and put this into perspective for all our viewers who are tuning in right now. What has really happened in the last few days? The number of attacks that have taken place. If you could also help our viewers understand the place where these attacks have taken place, who has taken responsibility for the same.
Well, Shamanji, another day, another sad story coming out of Pakistan. Let me tell you, 2 attacks were unleashed against, the Pakistan's Sikh community in Peshawar. This time in Peshawar, let me tell you that ISIS has taken responsibility of both of the attack, in which, unfortunately, one of the Sikh brother was martyred and another survived. But let me tell you, it was the 5th attack this year, and which has claimed 4 lives so far since January until now. and 4 Sikh brothers have been martyred. A number of others have sustained injuries. But on the other hand, if I I take you back to 5 to 6 years since 2015, 36, the brothers have been martyred across Pakistan, and it is, as you have rightly pointed out, the numbers are just growing. And I have just collected the latest figures since 2015, and it is actually a question mark on the working of all the previous and the current government as well. And another thing that is very, very important, I'm getting from my sources within Sikh community, that is actually a very little community in either in Lahore, Karachi, and in Peshawar as well. And this little Sikh community is actually very frightened. I have got in touch with one of the very, very notable figure who has been playing national level cricket in Pakistan, and he was just I spoke to him just a couple of hours before, and sadly he told me that he was cautioned by the family and he has to quit national cricket as well. So his family wants him to sit back at home because for Sikh, unfortunately, Pakistan is becoming very, very dangerous. Before it was, unfortunately, the Hindus, the community in Pakistan that has been facing the brunt of the terrorists and other things as well. But now, Sikhs, the community is relatively very close to the establishment, and also they are considered to be very powerful in Pakistan. But unfortunately, this powerful, the minority is on the target of the terrorist organization. And what I can tell you, actually it is a breaking that ISIS had taken responsibility of the attack, but the question mark have been raised on the working of Pakistan's law enforcement agencies and the government as well, because they have badly failed to, safeguard the minorities in Pakistan. And if I take you back to 2010 and 15, between these years, another minority, that was Christianity, that has been on the, unfortunately, on the target of not only the terrorists but the Pakistani community as well. Don't forget that above 110 people, Christians, were killed in Peshawar in an iconic, church, and the church which had come under the attack. So either Sikhs, either Hindus, and either you talk about Christianity, the Pakistan has failed to protect its minority. That is a sad story coming out of Pakistan, Shaman.
Well, Kaswar, I'll take another question with you. Roughly about 35 to 36 incidents is what you are saying in the last few years. In terms of the action that has taken place, if you can tell our viewers, who's really responsible for it? Because the Pakistani authorities essentially indicating that it is ISIS in some cases that have taken responsibility for the attacks that have been carried out. But having said that, multiple representations have been made by the minority groups before the Pakistani administration in terms of being protection to be provided to them. Kasper, why don't you just quickly take our viewers through the action that has been taken so far, rather I would say the inaction on the part of the Pakistani administration, and also if you could help us understand most of these attacks that have taken place, where is it? Which is the location where most of these attacks have taken place?
Well, Shamanji, let me tell you that clearly, whenever we talk about the attacks, either coming from the ISIS, TTP, or other, a terrorist organization, but the first and foremost responsibility is on the government and law enforcement agencies of Pakistan. So I can tell you very clearly that the government and the law enforcement agencies of Pakistan have been lagging behind, because, it's the responsibility of the state to safeguard its first and third state citizens as well. And when we talk about community, when we talk about the minorities, it's the responsibility of the state as well. And it has failed to meet its responsibility as first thing. And majority of the attack, you will be surprised to know that majority of the attack were unleashed in Pakistan's well-established, the town in Peshawar and in Lahore. Both iconic, both biggest cities in Pakistan, where law enforcement agencies maintain its clout as well. So all of these attacks happened in the heart of the big cities, including the Peshawar and Lahore. And it is very unfortunate that the government and the law enforcement agencies have badly failed to safeguard their, lives and property as well. Not just the common, the minority members, but in some cases, the most powerful. Even in Imran Khan's government, the sitting, the ministers of hailing from minority were attacked in Peshawar and then in Swat, and both had unfortunately succumbed to the injuries. So it is not the common, the minority members, but in some cases the powerful minority members had also sustained, the injuries, and in some cases they had come to the injuries as well. So very clearly, let me tell you, very clearly, it is a responsibility of Pakistan state, and which it has failed to deliver to its, the minority as well. So very clearly, I can tell you that Pakistan is lagging behind when it comes to safeguard its minorities as well, either in remote areas or either in the big and well-established cities as well. Over to you, Shaman.
Republic reporter Kaswar getting us the latest updates from Pakistan. Kaswar, I'll request you to stay on with us as we continue to get more breaking news on this entire matter. We'll try and go across to BJP leader Manjinder Singh Sirsa, who's also raised this entire issue, raising questions about the inaction on the part of the Pakistani administration. Mr. Sirsa, if you can hear me, in terms of...
Yes, I can very well hear you.
...protection to be provided to the minorities in Pakistan, multiple representations have been made in the past, which has obviously fallen into deaf ears. What is it that the Indian government would like to tell the minorities in Pakistan, given the fact that we see that a lot of minorities who are now in India are essentially once again raising this entire issue about CAA, saying that Hindu minorities can only be safe in India? I'm not saying this. Most of the minorities that we spoke to here in the national capital who are in various camps are saying that the situation appears to be extremely dire in our neighboring country.
No, that's very true. It is not the first or the last incident from last so many years. Three things are very common in Pakistan. One is target killing. The second is forcefully converting young girls, maybe aged from 10, 12, 13, 15, 18, and forcefully then marrying to married people who are almost at the age of their father or even in the grandfather. And the shocking part of the story is that most of the times, not most of the time, I might say that every time the government stands with the people who are against the minorities there in Pakistan for two reasons. One, now it's a complete country, got so much of hardliners there. Their single line agenda is that Islam is the only religion which could survive in Pakistan, and we do not, and not at all, not we, not our families, not our system, not our judiciary, not our executive, nobody should ever give any kind of protection to minorities. So that is the biggest challenge. Now we're talking about this Peshawar. They have openly said that you have to leave the Peshawar. Either you convert to Islam or you leave our area. So the people who are in the interior villages has already left that place and came to the city. Now they are killing people in city. Day before yesterday, they attacked one Tirlok Singh. Somehow he was able to survive the gunshot. And yesterday they had again attacked one Manmohan Singh, who was the only bread earner of his family. And not just their killings, but also, as I told you, their daughters are forcefully converted. You try to see the helplessness of a father who is not either able to save his daughter, to save his son from these kind of people. And those people who are in power, like Mia Mithu of Burchundi, he's a known one who's running this cartel, who's running the industry of converting minorities to Islam. But nobody dares to touch him because he's from a powerful family and also a powerful politician there in Pakistan. So the problem of the minority is so grave that even if most of the time Indian government takes up this issue with Pakistan, and for a couple of days they will be protecting minorities, they will put more force there, but after 2-3 days, nobody will be hearing to them. Today only I had a word with cousin of this person who has been killed. He said, "हम करें क्या? सिरसा जी हम क्या करें? हमें बोल रहे हैं कि तुम इन लोगों के खिलाफ बोलो. अब हम इनके खिलाफ बोलेंगे तो ये जो लोग इनके रिश्तेदार हैं वो भी हमें मारेंगे." तो दे सेड, "We have no choice left. The only one choice is कि आप हमें किसी तरीके भारत लाने का इंतजाम करो और वो भी हम इकट्ठे नहीं आ सकते. अगर यहाँ की गवर्नमेंट को पता चल गया कि हम पाकिस्तान छोड़ रहे हैं तो भी हमें मारेंगे." So they are so helpless. Sometimes I myself feel so helpless and start crying that what can we do to save them? Then the question comes out. The answer is nothing can be done to save them. They are all left on God, and God is one who can save them. Otherwise, either their religion will be converted or they will be killed. These are only two options with them. There is no third option left with them.
Well, in fact, Mr. Sirsa, perhaps many of the minorities who are right now camping in the national capital, they say that only if the government basically comes up with the CAA, perhaps there could be an answer to that. But hoping that the situation normalizes, but given the fact that 36 such incidents have already taken place, little can be expected from the Pakistani administration. Let me also quickly go across to Major Gaurav Arya for more on this. Major Gaurav Arya, 36 incidents that have taken place in the last few years. Very little action, or one would say no action at all on the part of the Pakistani administration. Manjinder Singh Sirsa says only God can help. But the reality essentially being that those who are criticizing India at this point in time with the way India has handled minorities in comparison to Pakistan, I think so India has upheld the constitutional rights of every citizen.
No, absolutely, Shavan. First of all, I don't think anybody should be comparing India to Pakistan. Pakistan is an absolute basket case. There is no hope for Pakistan, and I think Sirsa Sahib is absolutely correct. He's absolutely correct. There is nothing that can be done. Pakistan was born out of hate. Let's not forget that. And this is not an emotional statement that I'm making. This is a very practical statement. The two-nation theory said Hindus and Muslims cannot live together, implying Sikhs also, though Sikhs are a different religion. But nobody can live with Muslims, and we are a different civilization, and we are a different culture. And that is the basis of the formation of Pakistan. So it stands to reason that Pakistan will not allow anybody except Muslims to live in Pakistan. So some will be, converted. Like Sirsa very rightly pointed out, Hindu and Sikh girls are being converted by the dozens every year, I mean, last year, more than 1,000 girls were converted and married off. If you see 99% of these conversions, I would say 99.9% of these conversions, Shavan, that happen. And I'll come to the killings in a moment. These happen, all of them, if you see, are girls. Why is no man getting converted forcibly? Why is no man getting married to a Muslim girl in Pakistan? See, there are various parameters on which you analyze. Now, about the killing of these two Sikh brothers, who've been killed, one on Friday and one on Saturday. This is a targeted campaign. Sometimes it is religious hatred. Sometimes it is to take over that property, because these are soft targets. Shavan, these are, let's face it, these are soft targets. You want a Sikh's property, you want a shop, kill him, take over his property, and people like Mithu Mua will always, though he's based out of Sindh, Mithu Mia will always protect you, and there are so many Mithu Mias in Pakistan. So there is an institutionalized hatred against minorities in Pakistan. Incidents do happen in India, but constitutionally minorities are protected. There, constitutionally minorities are not protected. It's okay to target them. It's okay to kill a non-Muslim in Pakistan. And this is where Pakistanis are coming from. It's sanctioned under law. And if it is not even sanctioned under constitutional law, it's sanctioned under their interpretation of Islamic law. They call it wajibul qatl, which means it's okay to kill them. So Sikhs and Hindus in Pakistan are wajibul qatl. Ahmadis are wajibul qatl. And it is incumbent upon the Indian government to, get the CAA Act rolling and get all the Hindus and Sikhs from Pakistan to India as early as possible. Otherwise, very soon, we'll just read about Hindus and Sikhs in Pakistan in history books. You're not going to have any, proof of their existence in Pakistan. They'll be wiped out or converted.
Well, thank you very much, Major Gaurav Arya, for putting this into perspective. In fact, that's the point that we've also been highlighting after speaking to some of the minorities who are here in India, those who have escaped from countries like Afghanistan and Pakistan and are currently in various camps in the national capital, all raise the same concern that perhaps the Indian government could bring in the CAA in order to protect the minorities in the neighboring countries.